Match Racing Tour is back in China again, as the city of Shenzhen welcomes the top racers from the tour to battle it out for the 2024 World Championship title at the Shenzhen Bao'An Match Cup, with $200,000 in prize money. The number one ranked team on the World Tour is the Riptide Racing Team, skippered by Chris Poole from the USA, who has accumulated the most points on the Tour this year and also sits atop the World Sailing Match Race rankings at the end of the year. Switzerland's Erik Monen is ranked number 2 here, with Sweden's experienced Jonny Bertsen 3, Nick Egnoch Johnson ranked 4 as a previous World Tour champion, and Cole Tapper from Australia is fresh from winning the Youth Worlds, with Aurélien Pierrot from France in his first Tour final ranked 6th. However, ranked 11th, here is the 7-time World Match Racing Tour champion Ian Williams among the teams here, which also includes French, Italian, and Australian teams, plus a local Chinese match racing team skippered by Sheng Shen. The defending world champion is Ian Williams from Great Britain, who won the 2023 event here in Shenzhen in a dramatic finale against Gavin Brady, and in winning last year, he set a new record in the history of the World Match Racing Tour with his 7th victory, eclipsing all that have gone before him. However, in this past year, he missed most events due to his involvement with the Ineos Britannia America's Cup team, who reached the finals of the America's Cup, so he arrives here ranked just 11th in the world and is matched against a talented lineup of international teams. One of the goals of the Chinese Yachting Association is to continue to expand interest in sailing and to attract top-class events to the country, as illustrated with a glamorous opening ceremony to the World Match Racing Tour Final, attended by renowned dignitaries including the President of World Sailing, Mr. Quan Haili, together with government officials who are excited to showcase the city of Shenzhen to the world.
Once again, welcome to the top Wmrt sailors to Shenzhen Bao'An, where we have hosted the world-class Wmrt Grand Final. The finals, held here in the city center, have showcased thrilling boat races up close for public viewing. Over 200,000 spectators attended the event in person. Shenzhen's Bao'An district is a vibrant Bay Area city. We have the world's largest convention center and Shenzhen's tallest 128-meter Ferris wheel. Bao'An's rich tourism includes Phoenix Mountain, Yangtai Mountain, Happy Harbor, and Sea Garden. Next October, the world's largest indoor ski resort, Huafa Snow World, will also open. Bao'An has convenient transport with Shenzhen Airport located here. Annual passenger traffic exceeds 60 million, ranking 4th in China. We warmly invite friends from around the world to visit and experience Shenzhen Bao'An. Thanks again to Wmrt. We look forward to next year's final. Bao'An welcomes you.
Day 1 of the competition, after a few days of practicing on these Far East 28 yachts, the teams are ready for battle to begin.
Now we're here for the second time, which makes us feel a little more prepared. We're going to aim high. We will try to go to the semis and strike for a medal, and from there it can go all the way. Of course, Ian Williams, the 7-time winner, is the guy to beat, and it's going to be interesting to see how Cole Tapper has been developing, now winning the US Championship, so I think we have some good racers here.
But on the opening day of competition, the wind is very light and changing direction as the round-robin stage begins, where each team will race against every other team once, and there will be some interesting results, with experience certainly paying off.
We were pretty happy with our start, but for whatever reason we struggled to get the boat going in that race. It's really important in match racing, if you're behind, to stay close. Especially in these conditions, in these boats, there are opportunities to pass. So if you can keep it close, then as you saw, we passed literally within 50 meters of the line, and so really happy to get the win. Didn't look like that was going to happen, and happy to progress with 2 wins and 1 loss.
Our goal going today was just to take each race as it comes, and managed to knock up some pretty good results on the board. I think we finished 4 wins and 2 losses today.
There was not that much method to the madness. We just tried to watch the other races and see what sort of shifts the other boats were in. And when you're in the first match of the flight, there's no one upwind of you, so you kind of go in a bit blind, but figure it out as best we can, I guess.
We had a good day, 4 and 2. I think we just have good communications between us, and we have good modes for how we're sailing the boat in these tricky conditions today that we saw. And I think the forecast is supposed to get better each day as we go on into the event, and so I think that'll be just showcase more of that mode that we have.
So a light wind day, but 3-team finish with 4 victories and 2 losses on day 1 as the crews get to grips with the conditions. But there's a lot more racing to come, with each team scheduled to race 11 times in the round-robin stage. Bringing the World Tour Finals to Shenzhen for the Shenzhen Bao'An Cup match race is a huge draw for the top sailors.
So it's great to be back here in the wonderful city of Shenzhen. We're here for the final event, again, of the 2024 World Match Racing Tour season. We've had a full year, and here we are at the end of the season. And we've got a great lineup of teams, 12 teams here this week. What's interesting this year is we've got new teams that haven't been to the final before. We had 3 young French teams, Timothée Rosset, Ian Garetta, and Aurélien Quiros, who are the young up-and-coming talents. And it's very interesting to see how they'll fare against the veteran sailors. And then finally from Australia, Cole Tapper and his team from the CYCA, recently coming from Saudi Arabia last week, where they were crowned the Youth Match Racing World Champions in these same boats. So they've had a bit of practice. So really everything to play for this week. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
Over the next 2 days, the round-robin series sees every team in action battling for a place in the quarterfinal stage. But only the top 4 teams with the most wins will advance.
Today we will try to be a little more aggressive. Yesterday we were a bit shy. I think today we will try to take some good points for the round-robin.
Well, we had a really interesting race against Ian and his team. Unfortunately, we were seeing a lot of differences in the wind on the way down, and they managed to roll us. And I would say we wasn't sure on anything. Some piece of luck, of course, but yeah, it was a really tricky race to win.
We were struggling a bit in the start, but he got a penalty also for forcing a bit too much on the tacks. He had a lead, but we tried to be conservative and knowing that he had a penalty.
A little bit of luck never kind of went our way, which is frustrating. Just try to keep improving on our end, and we'll be happy with that.
A 7th win in the round robin sees the Swiss team of Monin move into a strong position to qualify for the next stage, a result that delights the skipper. But in Flight 15, there's a clash of the titans as Monin and Yanni Bertsen from Sweden go head-to-head.
He was trying to slow us down, and luckily we could just capitalize on that split start, and a bit lucky on that one, I have to say as well. My crew did an excellent job just keeping us out of troubles. Yeah, we'll see what happens at the scoreboard at the end, but it's looking good so far for us.
Despite losing this, Bertsen wins his final match of the day over Shenzhen from China to finish on 8 wins and 3 losses, securing his place in the quarterfinal stage.
We're going to get to pick an opponent now later on for the quarterfinals. I'm happy about how the team are working to get better all the time, though it's really hard to understand the conditions here.
All eyes shifted to Ian Garetta through the final afternoon as they had suddenly found their form, beating Poole, then Australia's Zach West, and now facing off against Eric Monin in Flight 16.
We did a great last 15 seconds, I think, and we took the advantage of the wind shift. After that, our goal was to increase our advantage. It was a bit stressful.
Their 8th victory of the round-robin series guarantees them a place in the quarterfinals, a superb achievement for Ian and his team. Despite this loss, Monin's run of good form leaves him with 8 wins and is also sure to advance to the next round.
So let's see how it goes. And I think the more surprises are on the water, the better it's for us.
Incredibly, however, in just his third year of match racing, Ian and his French team win the round-robin series on countback, having beaten both Bernsen and Monin in their earlier matches. A new star in the making.
Now the pressure is off, and everything is bonus, and I think we can do it, so maybe it will work for us.
Chris Poole finishes on 7 wins and 4 losses, just enough to clinch the final place straight into the quarterfinals. And so the 8 remaining teams move into repechage with a second chance to progress, but 4 of them are facing elimination, including the defending world champion, Ian Williams. The president of the Chinese Yachting Association, who is leading the drive to expand this sport in the country, achieved huge fame as a pioneering windsurfer after winning a world title and China's first ever Olympic sailing medal with a silver in 1992. She became a nationwide celebrity, honored in her hometown, and has continued to promote and grow sailing in China ever since, with huge success.
In December 1984, I was competing in the 11th edition of the 4th Championship in Australia. I won the long-distance championship and was the racecourse champion and was 3rd place overall. This caused a big sensation in China immediately, and when I returned to Guangdong, back in China, it was a bit like feeling I was some kind of hero, because after winning the championship in our country, I was suddenly famous all over my province, our city, and my hometown, with the publicity which was everywhere. And I managed to get to the Olympic Games as my awareness of this possibilities became higher and higher. And I hoped that I could have such an opportunity to win more glory for my country, and I decided I was going to fight for this even more. Luckily, I was in the final round of the racing in the Olympics in 1992, so I was able to win some races and was just a point or two near the top, and finally finished 2nd with a silver medal. That was an incredible feeling at that moment. Everything inside comes out, releasing all the pressure you have been under, and I really cried there on the water. It was so emotional. I was just crying, in joy and relief. My whole heart was pumping, and that kind of feeling at that time, well, it was very exciting and I was so happy. I think everyone knows that China greatly respects and values athletes who have achieved success on the international stage, and especially at the Olympic Games. We were, for example, received and entertained by state leaders and officials afterwards. You know, China really opens its doors in this. It welcomes all kinds of more influential and top-level competitions to come to China in the future, and enjoys the success of its own athletes in this, as it allows us to see the high level of competition, up close and personal with the world's best. It's like seeing this competition of the World Match Racing Tour here. It really inspires people to come and watch and try to get involved in the sport. Therefore, we are wanting to constantly introduce top international competitions here in water sports and welcome the world's top players here, so they will have the opportunity to understand China better too. China is very open to doing a lot more in water sports and sailing, and we look forward to this in future.
Day 4 of the event and into the repechage, where 8 teams must battle to stay in the event through 7 matches against the other teams, and only the top 4 advance to the quarterfinal stage, while 4 go home. The forecast promises consistent winds, and there is just 6 flights of competition left to finish, but which of the 8 teams will survive the day? The breeze is good, the water flat, and continuing from the first 2 flights yesterday, the conditions are considerably different, and there are a series of intense matches through the day. Ian Williams and his team draw on all their experience in defeating Rocco Attili from Italy and Shen Sheng from China. But they lose to French skipper Aurélien Pierrot before reaching a decisive 6th match with Australia's Cole Tapper, where victory could secure Ian's team through the next stage of the event.
and the last run it was all on with him coming down in pressure, but I think we did a nice job of keeping our cool and managing to get to the finish ahead. So really pleased to have beaten Cole Tapper and his team.
French skipper Baraz and his team are clearly enjoying the stronger conditions, scoring wins over Tapper, Zach West, and Shenzhen from China, who is still looking for his first win of the event. However, in the final flight of the repechage, Bao'An takes victory over Rocco and Tilly to finish on 6 wins from 7 matches.
Today was a good training for tomorrow, so we're pretty happy about what we did, so we want to do the same tomorrow, and let's hope for the best.
New Zealand's Nick Egnott-Johnson is also enjoying his day and finishes on 5 wins to claim his place in the next stage.
There'll be a quarterfinal pick tonight, so we'll figure out who we're racing, and we'll just get stuck into the quarters tomorrow and take into what we learned today, and hope we just keep getting better.
But the key match of Flight 6 would determine the 4th qualifying position, an all-Aussie matchup between Zach West and the recently crowned youth match racing world champion Cole Tapper.
Well, we had actually built quite a nice lead by the top, but we tried to jibe set and ended up getting our spinnaker in quite a tightly wound knot. Sailed the first run without the spinnaker, rounded on the favoured turn just ahead, and clean up the spinnaker on the second leg and then win the race, thankfully.
This means the world title journey ends for 4 teams now. Zach West, Rocco and Tilly, Timothy Rossi, and Shenzhen, who was unable to score a win in any match race this week, proving quite a lesson about the standard here.
My team really enjoying the regatta. I hope next year we can come back.
Confirmation of the Final 4 going through to the quarterfinal stage with France's Piero first, GBR's Ian Williams second, New Zealand's Egnott-Johnson third, and just making the cut, Cole Tapper. The racing is followed by the draw for tomorrow's quarterfinals, with overall round-robin winner Ian Garetta earning first pick.
I'm going to choose Cole Tapper.
We would like to race against Aurélien Piero.
We're going to race Nick Egnott-Johnson. Our last pair are getting back together again.
So that is the pairings for the quarterfinals tomorrow, and conditions are looking good for the coming days, and there's a lot more action to come. The event has attracted many visitors to Shenzhen, and other Chinese sailors have come to see and experience the atmosphere and meet the competitors, including an Olympic gold medalist at the London 2012 Olympics, who is known throughout the country and who has a massive following on social media. Now she's here to study the skills and tactics of top-class match racing, and is also considering her future.
I started sailing at the age of 10, and I used to be a swimmer and then an optimist coach. And then the moment I tried sailing, I just no longer want to go back to swimming anymore. And then I first sailed Optimist in Shanghai sailing team, and in a year's time I won the nationals. 2 years later I won the Asia Championship, but the World Championship title took me some time, which 4 or 5 years, so I got to Optimist World Champion title at the age of 14 and 15. So I did 3 Olympic campaigns later on in this single-handed dinghy laser radio class, and then got a bronze in Beijing 2008 and a gold medal in 2012. But I think what I got the most from my first Olympic experience is I was so fired up that I want to win a gold in 4 years' time. So in 2012 London Olympic Games, where a sailing event was held in Weymouth, a small town in southwest of the UK, I was hoping to win an Olympic gold medal, which was the only medal that I missed throughout my laser radio sailing career. And I worked really hard towards that goal. And then the moment when I crossed the finishing line on the final medal race, I sort of wondered whether I was dreaming. I just couldn't help screaming, say, wow, but the deep down inside my heart, I'm not just feeling for myself. I sort of feel I realized my dream, which is true, but what matters more to me is I want the gold for my nation, which is not so strong in sailing in modern days in sailing, and especially on British waters. So that makes my nation even more proud, because Britain is very strong in maritime. It has a rich history and legacy in maritime, so that's why I was selected as the flag bearer for China at the closing ceremony. That's very unusual for a sport that's not so popular in China, but yeah, my nation's feeling pretty proud. I am the lucky few who can become an Olympic champion, and now it is the time that I give something back for the sport that I love.
Moving into the closing phase of the World Match Racing World Championship final, and conditions have remained good for the competition, with 5 flights scheduled in what is now a head-to-head knockout contest, with the team that wins 3 matches first advancing to the semifinals. It's overcast, but the wind is around 12 to 15 knots offshore, and it's a fascinating mix of young and exciting talent against some of the most experienced match racing teams on the tour, with former world champions and relative newcomers pitted against each other, with no room for any mistakes. The morning session sees epic racing throughout as the skies clear, and in the all-European match between Switzerland's super-experienced Eric Monin and newcomer Aurélien Perraz from France, it's the French team that start with a 2-0 lead before Monin recovers to win match 3. In their 4th match, Monin has the advantage, heading to the first mark with a boat-length lead. The Swiss team carry their lead around the course, but miraculously in the run to the finish line, Perraz clinches the vital 3rd victory.
We managed to get a penalty to him in the beginning of the race. He still had it until the finish line, and we stay right behind him and pass when we could. So we finished the race, and we just qualified for the semi. So it's very good.
2 titans in match racing, Nick Egnott-Johnson from New Zealand and Sweden's Jonny Berntsson, put on a show for the crowds with classic close match racing. The Kiwi team take a 2-point advantage, then the Swedes winning match 3. But Nick pulls out all the stops in the 4th match to win and secures their place in the semi-finals.
We just had a really close quarterfinals against Jonny Berntsson and his team from Sweden. And I think a couple of the races there, they were won by less than a foot. So, you know, it was really close, and those guys sailed really well. So, yeah, massive congrats to them as well.
Perhaps as expected, the pairing of Ian Williams and Chris Poole produces fireworks throughout every tack and jibe of their 5 matches. The British team open a 2-point lead, but then the Americans fight back to tie the contest at 2-2, thus setting up a 5th and deciding match. It's close, but despite Poole's #1 world ranking, Williams' experience prevails when he scores 2 penalties on Poole, crossing the finish line first to move into the semifinals for the 2nd consecutive year here in Shenzhen.
Yeah, really tough quarter-final. I think when we went 2-0 up, maybe we backed off a little bit, just maybe got a bit too relaxed, and Chris and his team did a great job to come back and square it at 2-2. So in the end, we were really pleased to get through 3-2.
The last pairing of French skipper Ian Garetta and his team are matched against Australia's Cole Tapper. 2 young stars in the making, and they show their skills for all to see. Into the 5th match, tied at 2 wins each, and the French team gain the edge off the start and stay clear of the Australians from there to secure a valuable place in the semi-finals.
It's a new stage. We will try to come as outsiders with not too much pressure, and see what we can do.
So the semi-final lineup gives us 2 young rising stars matched against 2 experienced World Tour champions. Taking time away from the event, the World Tour is invited to attend a local school to boost interest in the sport and to outline Lily's extraordinary life journey so far.
we paid a special visit to one of the local schools, which has more than well over 10,000 students. And we introduced what sailing is and what is World Match Racing Tour. And by sharing my story and also how fun is match racing, we hope to inspire more kids to pick up sailing as well as to enjoy the time on the water.
It was a pleasure to meet all the students here. They're so enthusiastic, and to have Lily here as an example of such a successful Olympic sailor, I think is a huge inspiration.
One of the reasons that we host the World Match Racing Tour final here in Shenzhen, China is we hope to increase the sailing population in the mainland China as well as the whole Asia.
Into the semi-final competition, and as the winner of the round-robin stage, France's Ian Garretta has first choice of opponent and elects to race against former World Match Racing Tour champion Nick Egnott-Johnson, leaving Aurélien Pierrot facing 7-time world champion Ian Williams. The opening match sees the Kiwi team using their experience at the first mark, forcing their way in on starboard to edge out the French team and gaining the lead. Despite Garretta's attempts to claw back, they can't do enough, and EJ, as he's known, takes the first point on the score sheet. In match 2 of this first flight, it's a master class from the British team, leaving Aurélien Pierrot for dead off the start. Rounding the first mark with a 1-10-second lead, Williams never looking back and clearly in command.
It's really difficult when you're ahead to know whether to try and cover the other boat or just sail your own shifts, and sometimes you want to keep the leverage down and you take a bad shift just to lock the race down, but you can't keep doing that. If you keep doing that, the other boat will catch up. So picking the moments to split is really the key thing out there, and I think Richard's been doing a great job, my tactician. Hopefully he'll keep doing that.
In Flight 2, Garretta seizes on a rare mistake by Egnott-Johnson, who looks clear but perhaps pushes too far right and misses his opportunity, allowing the French team to slip away from their grasp to level and tie it at 1 win each.
For tomorrow, I think we will try to disconnect this evening and rest a lot and be ready for tomorrow, because we still have too much to win, so it will be tough.
In the fading light and breeze, Aurélien Pierrot also pulls a point back after opening a 33-second lead at the final mark of the course, holding off a charge from the Brits on the final run to the finish, which leaves both semifinals tied at 1 win each.
On the pre-start, so that we had a little advantage since the beginning. That helped us a lot. We passed him on the second leg, so pretty happy about that, and we hope to keep going tomorrow.
So, 7 flights completed here on the penultimate day at the Shenzhen Bao'An Cup, and with the sun setting, racing is halted, leaving the last matches of the semifinals to tomorrow. It could not be balanced more finely in this first-to-win 3-point contest. It means the 2 finalists will not be decided until the morning. So, who will meet in the grand final for the lion's share of this $200,000 prize purse and the World Championship title? In a chilly 8 to 12 knots of wind early the next day, the semi-final stage of the Wmrt World Championship in Shenzhen, China resumes, with both matches tied at 1 win apiece. But the conditions have changed overnight to a slightly lighter breeze, and so the yachts are all rechecked and made ready for what could prove to be a day of glory or disappointment for the 4 teams left in the contest. Ian Williams switches into gear and takes control, taking back-to-back wins in the next 2 matches to secure the crucial 2 points he needs over Pierrot from France, taking another step towards becoming an 8-time champion. as he moves into the final for the second successive year.
We obviously had a great start, managed to shut him out at the committee boat, which gave us, the choices up the beat. But fortunately, it was fairly straightforward, that first speed, and the best way to go. And we were able to get a decent lead. And for once, everything sort of went the way we predicted it, and we were able to draw away. So really happy to be in the final and looking forward to it.
France's young star Ian Garetta gives his team confidence when he ties the match at 2-2 after Nick Egnott Johnson won the third match. The French try everything to win the deciding match, but it's the Kiwi team who get the vital win and are delighted to move into the final.
Yeah, young Garetta and his team from France are sailing really well. They're doing a great job in the start and picking the shifts, but I think we just managed to sail our own race, not worry about them too much, and the guys did a great job of linking together all the dots, and I feel like the semis has prepped us pretty well, and we're just looking forward to getting in and racing Ian.
With just 2 teams left, it's time for the rest of the competitors and the many event volunteers to enjoy the entertainment at a spectacular party staged by the organizers. So it's the reigning match racing tour world champion Ian Williams from the UK facing off against the 2022 world champion Nick Egnott Johnson from New Zealand for the $50,000 first prize. The first team to win 3 matches in the best-of-5 final will become the 2024 champion. First blood goes to Nick in match 1, winning by around 10 boat lengths. But after a close battle in match 2, Ian ties the score at 1 win each. Match 3 sees the British team take the right side of the course and force the Kiwis to duck them on the first cross to seize the advantage.
Came down at us! Flag it! Flag it! Okay, Barry's on. Go!
Despite EJ's efforts, there is no way past the 7-time world champion, and so Ian moves into a 2-1 lead on the scoreboard.
Basically, they're doing quite a good job in the starts. That's 2 starts where they've led us just off the line, but that's enough to take it through and pick up that first shift. So we're going to try something a little bit different in the next start. And see how it goes. But I think if we can get a good start on them, the boys are doing a great job of picking the shift and sailing fast around the course. So the start's going to be the big focus here.
The 4th match is a disaster for Williams and his team when his spinnaker halyard detaches and the kite hits the water, ending his race. He is black flagged by the umpires, handing an easy win to the Kiwi team.
It's all on. I think those guys are sailing really well. They're definitely pushing us really hard, and we need to be totally on our game.
Into a deciding 5th match for the World Championship title, and it's all or nothing. No room for error, and the tension is at a peak. All eyes are on the pair together in the pre-start, and no quarter is spared. The clock ticks down to the start. There's the start horn, and both teams are away cleanly. Williams has taken to the left and Nick to the right side of the course, which he clearly wanted. And he then has the advantage of being on starboard the first time the 2 teams converge together upwind. Ian and his crew are focused, but the right has paid off and the Kiwis have the lead around the track, slowly edging further and further ahead upwind. Approaching the windward mark of lap 1, the gap is around 10 seconds as the Brits tack and prepare to jibe around the mark.
Jibe set, jibe set. Yeah, jibe set.
The call is for a jibe set, so they jibe with the spinnaker up ready to go. And on this reach downwind, they are closing fast on the Kiwi team. They're blocking the breeze behind the leader. This is a classic match race tactic, which is working as they head towards the leeward gate to finish the first lap of the racetrack. And it looks as though Ian has forced Nick to the left of the course. EJ takes the left mark of the gate, and so Ian jibes off to the right. Just a matter of a second or two between them now. But Ian has taken the right side now and looks to just have a slight lead at this point. A lot of work to do here for the New Zealand team off the left side as they pinch upwind. On board with Williams as they tack around onto starboard, keeping a close eye on the opposition. Here we go. As they approach the final windward mark, EJ has to tack away, but is slightly ahead as they close with Ian on starboard tack. But Nick calls for room at the mark, and it's confusing now. Both shouting, both maneuvering for the advantage. EJ is being chased down here, and there's contact. And it's Ian Williams who gets the blue penalty for not allowing enough room for Nick. This is a disaster for the Brits now. Just too aggressive at the mark. The chase is on now. Williams needs to force a penalty on the leader in the last run downwind and stop them crossing the finish line to win the championship. There's less than a boat length between them on the reach, and Ian is trying to get underneath to stop them jibing off, so is forcing them wide to the right of the course. This is incredible racing, pushing the Kiwis further and further out and getting closer and closer. EJ dare not risk the jibe back. That's the trap set for him by Williams, but time and distance are running out. And look at this. Ian has come right down, and his bowsprit looked to have caught the leader. And there's a protest. The umpires call no penalty. Ian is not happy.
Why not?
Just enough room now, and EJ goes for the jibe. Is he clear? Protest from the Brits, and the umpires are debating this one as both teams drop their kite and head back for the finish line.
Gotta be on him, that guy!
And there it is. EJ could not evade the trap, and now it's a yellow penalty flag, and that cancels out the blue penalty on Ian's team. And so it's a chase for the finish line. The first to finish is the world champion. Nick is behind. He's questioning the call, but Williams is away. Speed is up, and the finish boat is in view, and they are closing fast. And there it is. Ian and his team have done it again. Back-to-back World Championship titles here in Shenzhen. It could not have been any tighter. Delight on board, but huge disappointment for Nick and his team, who thought they had this won. It was perhaps a controversial umpire call, but this story now takes another unexpected twist. With the race finished, on inspecting the damage to Nick's yacht caused by the earlier collision, race officials feel that Ian should be docked points as per the rules, which would mean he does not have the required 3 points to win the final. A protest hearing is convened on the water, video evidence is reviewed, and the chief umpire and officials penalize Ian's team 3/4 of a point, leaving them on 2.25 points, meaning that a sixth match must be sailed to decide the world title. And remarkably, they go again. It's still a winner-takes-all match again, and the fireworks begin in the pre-start with the entry straight into a dial-up. On board with Williams as he's a picture of concentration, but there's a collision.
It's over rotation! He just slammed it into us! He just slammed it!
The umpires agree, a mistake by EJ there, and his team is penalized with a blue flag. So the advantage swings to Ian. The clock continues and the countdown to the start is close. The two yachts dialed up next to each other. Who can control the moment?
5, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Talk to me.
There's the start signal, and neither team is powered up and sailing yet. Nick is to the right of Ian and pressing him as they start to move off. Ian goes for attack. He wants the right side, but EJ looks to be controlling this. Possible contact there, and the Y flags are up on both crews. It's a yellow flag. Ian was too aggressive there and gets the penalty for it. So that cancels the blue penalty, and it's back to square one yet again. What a final between these two teams. They sail upwind. The Brits look to have got the wind shifts right and have had the better first leg as they line up for Mark 1. A jibe set again, and the Kiwis are trailing. And approaching the mark, they've almost misjudged this and had to point up quickly to get around. That's a gap of almost 30 seconds at the first weather mark, and that's a huge distance to close, though not impossible for a team of this caliber. Nick steers to the right side of the course and breaks away from Ian in search of a better breeze. This wind has become quite light and shifty through the afternoon. Now it's EJ who is on the hunt downwind. Ian is jibed off to the right as well, which has certainly cost him some ground there, as the Kiwis have closed that gap further. Richard Sydenham drops the kite and bundles into the hatch, ready for the leeward gate. This team have been sailing together for many years and have such huge experience. Look at this. EJ is back to a matter of 2 or 3 boat lengths now, really caught up downwind. But he followed across to the left gate and is now changing and going to the right side. That has to be a hope to get better shifts from the right of the course on this final lap. They have the Kiwi team right there as they round Mark 2. This could be super close up this final beat. Who will call the shifts better with the World Championship title on the line? Well further up the course, and Ian and his team have done well. They've got the boat beautifully trimmed and called the shifts, but the Kiwis are not out of sight quite yet as the pair close in on the crucial final top mark rounding. However, a final tack and the fickle wind has favored the Brits. EJ is struggling to get there, and rounding Mark 3, this could all be over. They've somehow carved out what looks like an impassable lead now. The kite is up in Ian's yacht, and EJ hasn't even tacked onto the mark yet. It's a huge ash now for the Kiwi team. Ian jibes off to the left of the course. Is that the right call? And where will the Kiwis hunt for the breeze with time running out? You can feel the tension on board and the team, but they've been here many times before with just a couple of 100 meters to the finish. EJ and his team are doing all they can downwind. You can see the finish line buoy in the distance as the seconds tick by. Both are powered up, but the gap is surely too big now. EJ still has to jibe over, and Ian is in full control of this now. Ian assures the team it's all good, and it certainly looks like it now. And there it is as they cross the finish line once again. He asked the race committee if that is it this time. Has he won? British irony at its best there. But spare a thought for Nick Egnott-Johnson and his team. They made it to the final and have put up an incredible fight here. Confirmation from the umpires that the race is over and Ian Williams and his team are the World Match Racing Tour champions for an incredible 8th time. Celebrations aboard and the obligatory winning photo for the press.
Yeah, amazing for us on Pindar by Manipur Logistics to got that 8th title. It was a strange finish, you know. We thought we'd won. There was the drama around the damage, and so it was a kind of a weird feeling crossing the line again, and then just waiting for confirmation that the boats were all clear. So kind of a weird one, but now, yeah, super happy to have got it over the line.
You know, getting to sail against Ian is always an honour. We've grown up learning to match race, watching them on YouTube. So yeah, to be able to push them to a total of 6 races in the finals of a World Championship, yeah, we're all very happy.
A most unusual final result, 6 matches in the final. Williams triumphant, while the 3rd place podium place went to Aurélien Perrault in the all-French playoff matches. The crowds gather for a glamorous awards ceremony in Shenzhen, as 3rd place on the podium is celebrated by Aurélien Perrault and his French crew. While Nick Egnott-Johnson and his team received their medals for 2nd place. But it's Ian Williams that once again lifts the coveted Match Racing World Championship trophy and receives the winner's check for $50,000 prize money, securing a record-breaking 8th world title on the tour, a truly incredible achievement for him and his team. And the celebrations continue at the end of what has been a hugely successful final event with the Shenzhen Bao'An Match Cup in China.